Okay, scientists, are you ready? Let's stretch, yawn. Let's take 2 bunny breaths. Ready? And 2. Oh, I can see my scientists are all ready to listen to messages that I will be sending you by light and sound. Remember, we talked about that last week in lesson 1, how people and animals can send messages by light, seeing through the eyes, and by sound. Well, today we are going to get ready to conduct an investigation to provide evidence that vibrations can make sound. So that's a lot of big words, and we'll talk about it, but I need you to use your eyes and your ears and carefully watch and listen because you're going to learn about vibrations. So I'd like you to make sure you have your whiteboard and marker or your paper and pencil next to you because we're going to show observations after watching this video. Everybody ready? Our question says, what did you observe? Observe means what did you see? What did you hear? So I'm going to play a video. This is called, instrument is called a macro bellows. Can you say that? Macro bellows. And this has strings on it like a guitar does. But I want you to watch in the video, they're going to pluck the string and you're going to hear it make noise, but I want you to watch carefully what the string does after the person plucks it. That means pulls it up and lets it go. So here we go. This is our macro bellows. Okay, I'm going to start that again because I think I started it in the middle. So here we go. So you see the string, and now he just pulled it up. Isn't that amazing? So I'm going to ask that the video be stopped and that you take a minute to draw on your whiteboard or your piece of paper what you observed. How could you draw that? And then you'll have a little bit of time for discussion on what you observed from the video. What happened when it was plucked, and what do you think made the sound? I know you had a great discussion. Now, before we go on, we're just going to review some of our vocabulary for this lesson. Remember, a message is communication, sending a message or communicating something to somebody else. It can be written, it can be through light, it can be through sound. Your ear. So right now you were using your ears to sense sound vibrations. So your ear was actually hearing vibrations, and vibrations means moving back and forth. So did you talk about how the string moving back and forth vibrated, and that makes the sound, and that vibration goes to your ears? If you look at this picture, you see the vibrations, the moving back and forth is sensed, is picked up by your ear. And so sound is vibrations of energy. So a sound is made by vibrations of energy, the string moving back and forth, and your ears sense sound. Okay, so now we're going to watch a video called What is Sound? Here we go. So as we watch this, I want you to think about again, what information do you already know and what information are you learning new?
chemistry set bubbling. And Squeaks, is that you? Sounds are all around us all the time. There are so many of them, and we call sounds by a lot of different names. Like if a sound is really loud and kind of unpleasant, like when there's a lot of traffic going by, we sometimes call it noise. And if a sound is made by an instrument like a piano or a ukulele, we call it a note. And we call lots of notes together music. And some words are kind of like the sounds themselves. Like when fireworks go boom, popcorn pops, and bells go ding-a-ling. It doesn't matter what makes a sound though. All sounds are made the same way, through vibrations. When something vibrates, it moves back and forth really fast. So fast, in fact, that our eyes often can't see it moving. But other parts of our body can sense vibrations. And I bet you know what parts those are. That's right, our ears. So how does sound get from, say, a bell to our ears? The air all around us is made of tiny particles, and these particles are what carry sound. We can use marbles to demonstrate the teeny tiny particles that make up the air. Let's see how. If we put a few marbles together so they're touching, then roll another marble so that it crashes into them, the group of marbles will move. That's kind of what happens with sound. When we ring a bell, we cause the metal that makes up the bell to vibrate really fast back and forth. And the vibration of the bell also shakes up the particles that make up the air around it and makes them vibrate. Then those particles run into the air particles next to them, and so on. You can also think about it like dominoes, with the vibration getting passed along from one bunch of particles in the air to the next. We call this path of vibration a wave. Now, how do we hear those vibrations? If we could look deep inside our ears, we'd see a special little part that kind of looks like the top of a drum. When sound waves make it all the way to and into our ears, they make this part of our ear vibrate. The vibrations keep going, moving even deeper into our ear until they finally get to the spot that sends a message to our brain. And that message says, hey, we're hearing something! Now, who's ready to make some vibrations? We can make a kind of musical instrument that will help us to see the vibrations that we make. All we need is an empty can, like a coffee can, and a rubber band that's just big enough to stretch around the can from its top to its bottom. Stretch the rubber band over the top of the coffee can, and ta-da! We have an instrument, one that's kind of like a guitar. Let's pluck the rubber band gently. Does it make a sound? It sure does. And if we look very, very closely, we can see that the rubber band is moving back and forth. When we pull on the rubber band and let it go, we're causing it to vibrate. These vibrations travel into the air, making the air particles move through the air to our ears in a sound wave. If we pull kind of gently, the sound is kind of soft. But if we pull a little harder, the sound gets louder. And if we grab the rubber band while it's moving and stop it from vibrating, we also stop the sound. Hey, we made some pretty good vibrations. So whenever you hear a sound, you know that something, somewhere, is vibrating. And those vibrations are traveling through the air and into your ears. So thanks to all of you who asked us how sound works. And make sure to check back every week to learn more science with Squeaks and me, and we'll see you next time.
Oh, that was amazing and so much fun. So before we go on, I'd like the video to be stopped, and I want you to take 2 minutes to draw or write what you learned new from the video. It might be a picture of the ear or whatever you learned, and then you're going to have a discussion about it. So in the video, they talked about making an instrument, and tomorrow we're going to actually work on that. I'm going to email your parents and ask them to have a few things that would make an instrument for you to investigate. So we're going to end our time together by going to Pebble Go, and we're going to hear the definition of sound and how they explain sound on Pebble Go. So remember, we're being good listeners. We're looking with our eyes. We're listening with our ears to take in a message, communication on what is sound. Remember, when you go to Pebble Go, you type in ride and school.
Sound is made up of waves. The waves travel through matter. Sound waves are made when something vibrates. The vibrating object sends waves into the air.
So remember, when you're reading Pebble Go, the bolded or the red words provide a link to help you understand the word better. So here's the word waves.
Wave. Energy moving through a medium, such as water or air.
And the word vibrates.
Vibrate. To move back and forth quickly.
Our next chapter is sound and matter.
Sound and matter. When something vibrates, it pushes the air around it back and forth quickly. The moving air pushes the air around it. This is how the sound wave spreads. We can't see the sound wave, but we can hear it.
Okay. So our next one. So this was important. What I learned now here is that you can't see the sound wave, but you can hear it. So you can't see it traveling through the air. You can see the rubber band vibrating, but you can't see it as the waves travel through the air.
Sound waves travel. Sound waves travel in all directions. As a wave travels, it spreads out. It can also bounce back if it hits something like a wall. Some things absorb sound, so the sound just stops.
So let's see what absorb means.
Absorb. To soak in.
So I'm making a connection of a paper towel. When you put it on water, it absorbs or soaks in the water. And so some things soak in the sound and you can't hear it anymore.
Pitch.
Pitch.
Pitch is how high or low a sound is. Things that vibrate slowly have a low pitch. The sound made by a big drum has a low pitch. Things that vibrate quickly have a high pitch. The sound made by a tiny bell has a high pitch.
So that's why we hear some sounds are very high and some sounds are very low. And you talk about that a lot in music. And our last one, how we
hear sound. The outer ear catches sound waves. The waves move into your ear. Inside, the sound waves cause the eardrum, bones, and cochlea to vibrate. They connect to a nerve that sends sound to the brain.
Okay, so this is the diagram again of the ear. Remember, these are labels, and it shows you the outer ear. And just like in the video, it shows you the eardrum and the middle ear. This is called the cochlea. And so that's how sound travels through your ear. Let's watch a quick video on Pebble Go. So did you hear some high sounds and some low sounds? That's great. Okay, friends, this is the end of our lesson for today. Tomorrow we will be actually conducting our own investigation about sound waves and vibrations. Have a great day. Do a wonderful job in PE.